this doesn't make sense for a business team, like people, they don't want that. I mean, they want a business website, a presentation website. So
True.
we made the deliberate choice, like when people would activate Zerif, we will change that setting to a full page. So
I see.
when they preview and activate the team, they would see that, right?
Ah,
But
ah.
so this is what we did different than everyone else.
Few founders balance product, publishing, and performance like today's guest, whose work powers millions of WordPress sites and search results. Welcome to WP Legends. I'm Gautam, co-founder of Seahawk Media. Today, I'm joined by Ionut Nergo, founder of Themeisle, Code in WP, and Vertigo Studio, companies that have launched some of the most beloved WordPress themes and operate one of the highest ranking content engines in this space. Ionut's journey began with a passion for experimentation and turned into a decade of building lean, profitable, and principled WordPress businesses. From the design-forward success of themes like Hestia and Zelle to the SEO and editorial precision of Code in WP, his work consistently reflects a commitment to transparency, utility, and sustainable growth. Today, we'll unpack how Ionut approaches product simplicity, SEO, the future of WordPress themes, and how to scale impactful tools and content in challenging digital landscape. Ionut, welcome to WP Legends. So let's rewind to the beginning.
Thank you for the nice introduction, and yeah, happy to be here.
Pleasure, pleasure. I'm glad. I am honored to have you on this show. I have known all about Themeisle, but I don't know you. I've never met you. Now I'm glad to meet you. So let's go back to the very beginning, 2012, 13. Is that when you
Right,
started your
right.
journey?
Yeah. So yeah, we started. I will try to be fast. So as a lot of people from the community, I started as a freelance web developer. Then
Mm.
we started as a small agency, but very small, very small agency, without any prior experience into working in an agency or and so on. I just try to build on my, let's say, web developer freelancing journey. And then from the web agency, we got into the products because I mean, first, it was also my sort of interest, that I wanted to create a source of, let's say, recurring revenue. I always wanted, so in my, let's say, personal planning, I wanted to work hard and have something that's kind of working by itself when I want to take a break, right? So I had this in my mind a little bit. So, but at the same time, we got into products as a marketing channel. So we thought like how we can get clients for our agency, and let's try to release a free theme, a free plugin, or do something to see, okay, get a backlink, get some people discovering our work. They can look at our code, so maybe that will give us clients. So that was a little bit the journey, and yeah, the journey into WordPress itself. So we started as a web agency doing everything that we can find on freelancer.com at that time. So I will look for projects, and
Hmm.
whatever seems to be doable and like that would make us generate us some money, we will take it. Will be Java, will be PHP, will be any HubSpot, anything you can imagine, right? So we started. I mean, myself, when I was a freelancer, just to why we went in this direction, and it's connected to what we do now. Uh, I'm a very curious person, and I like to dig into a lot of things. And I'm
Hmm.
also good in figuring things out, things that I don't know. I figured them out quicker than most of the people. That's because I also like doing it. So this is what I was doing on the freelancing platform, and also the first one of the first developers that we had in the team. He had the same skills and interests, so it was part of why we kind of explored different things. Just that
Yeah,
it was, yeah.
yeah,
Sorry.
yeah. But it is on this point because it is coming in my memory. The Theme Isle started with the pirate brand and voice, right? Is that correct?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
So how did that come in the equation? Because this is part of exactly what you're saying. I'm very
Right, right,
curious
right.
about
So
that.
Yeah, it's a very unusual way. So from the agency, we launched a product. We saw like we actually acquired a product that was a Revival Post. We acquired it for $400. I think
Okay.
paid in installments because we didn't have the money. And then it's like we launched a pro version, and then we sold a couple of thousand per month, right? So we saw like there is something interesting
Mm,
in that. So we acquired another project called the Ready Teams.
okay.
There were like affiliate marketing and review teams, and that was generating maybe 1 to 2 thousand per month. And I thought, okay, like it looks like there is something here because this website, it doesn't look that great. It has no differentiator. So the challenge for me in then promoting these Ready teams was like it just looked and it was just another team's website. And I
Got it.
thought like we need to differentiate somehow. And I think, yeah, stupid enough at that time to believe like the differentiation lays in the name or the design or the story, which I now think it's not the point. So that was the story behind that. I thought like I don't want to create a B team, X team, like
Yeah. B theme is
whatever.
one of the B theme is one of the most popular design focused on theme forest, for example.
Yeah,
Yours
yeah,
is more,
yeah.
yours is, I think, very practical. I think that's the reason of your success. And correct me if I'm wrong, is because it's very practical. The applications behind it for people to launch websites is a very practical
Yeah.
approach for both the Hestia one as well as now Neve. It was called Zelle before. Is that
Yeah.
correct? You changed
Yeah,
the name.
our first team, no, it's a completely new team, right? Our
Oh,
first
okay,
team
okay,
that it was called actually Zerif when we launched, and
okay.
this is how actually we started because we launched Teamile at the beginning, and it
Mhm.
was a nice site with a nice copy with a nice but not easy to pronounce name, but no one was buying anything because because that was not what actually people are coming to our site to buy the product. So even now like Neve or Hestia, they have more brand searches than T-Miles. So people, they come for the product,
Ah,
they don't come for the store or the brand itself. The product is what actually driving the interest
I
and
noticed you're right, actually. You know why? Because I was doing some research the other day on the WordPress directory, and your name was in the most popular section, of course, on the first page. And I think it must have been Hestia which popped up. So, and I saw Themile as the maker. You know, they have 14,000 themes in the
correct.
WordPress.com repository, and you have been there since forever, since the launch of the directory, right? On the WordPress directory.
Not the launch. The directory was there. It was working differently, but I was, it was a situation where it was a lot of luck, right? To get into the popular part with Zerif, it was the product that was the right product, and we make some a choice. I mean, the part of the success of Zerif was, besides the design and everything, was like we made a deliberate choice to don't respect like WordPress.org. By default, when you activate a theme, the latest posts are shown. You have these settings like when you install WordPress, you see the latest posts, right?
Yes, yes.
And myself, I thought when we launched Zerif, it's like, this doesn't make sense for a business team, like people, they don't want that. I mean, they want a business website, a presentation website. So
True.
we made the deliberate choice, like when people would activate Zerif, we will change that setting to a full page. So
I see.
when they preview and activate the theme, they would see that, right?
Ah,
But
ah.
so this is what we did different than everyone else. It was breaking the guidelines of the plugin repository or of the theme repository because you are not allowed to change that. It was part of our success, but also why then the team was suspended from the repository, right?
I see.
Because
I see.
I
I
just
see.
didn't agree. I didn't agree with the. So it was not necessarily like a marketing trick for me. I fundamentally didn't agree. Like our users, they want to see their posts on when they activate a team, right? I
I
thought
see.
like this should not be like it, right? So
Yeah,
so
yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
I was talking about the popular and how we got there.
I got it. I got it. Now I'm clear about the pirate part, the Zelle, Hestia, now Neve, etc. All of that. So would you say like most of your customers are agency customers, or do you have a fair share of direct retail customers as well, basis on your analysis for Thema, or
Yeah, yeah.
both?
I think it's a sort of for teams part. It's a sort of split in my view. So we run surveys, from the very beginning,
Hmm. Hmm.
and being on the directory, on the repository, and always this has been our main acquisition channel. We
Okay.
have a lot of new people to WordPress, a lot of newbies, a lot of do
Yes.
it
True.
yourself.
Yes.
So compared to TempForest, where I think you will have an audience of more agencies, professionals, or etc. So right now, I think it's sort of split. So there is a fair share of agencies, but there is also a lot of people at the beginning. Which again, it's different when you compare maybe with Divi or with other competitors. That usually what I see when you have a repository as your kind of main acquisition channel, you have more entry level people compared to other marketplaces like
True.
like Envato or yeah.
True, true, true. I think when it comes to competitors, I think there's a WordPress is so massive and 40%
All
plus
right.
of the internet. I don't think there's any problem, even if there are 1,000 more competitors tomorrow. I was speaking with somebody the other day. So I'm in London, 3 minutes from my home. There's a strip called Queensway. There are nine cafes now, nine cafes in a 300 feet area, 400 feet. Okay. And they all do great business. They all have people buying cappuccinos. They all have people buying espresso, and they're all doing well because everybody has their own set of customers. I think people those who are happy with Themile, they'll be happy with Themile. They're somebody's happy with the theme, okay, they're happy with the theme because they've figured out their ways accordingly. I think there's room to grow as long as you're evolving. Like for example, Elementor came in and you have, I think, very good compatibility standards with Elementor. So let's talk about that for a second. What do you think about Gutenberg, Elementor, and coexisting on top of them with them? Let's speak about that for a second.
Yeah, I think this is a interesting story and a lesson for me, right? So Page Builder, they have been in the ecosystem since a long time. You
True.
have like Bakery or
Yes.
they were, but in my view, I tried them at that time, and I always thought they are a niche market for agencies or for some people there that it's not something that most of the people would want because they are fairly complex to use, and with the customizer users can achieve like kind of good site building experience, right?
True. True.
So when Elementor came, I thought it will be the same. So I thought that it will, it's okay, it's better, people love it. I saw the buzz, but I thought it will stay as a niche. So we ignored it at the beginning. We didn't put any effort to dig very deep into that. So it's at that point where we lost the sort of dominance on the Teams market, because prior to that we were one of the top teams, right? But when Elementor came, and then you had new players like OceanWP and Astra that
True. True.
launch, they were fortunate to launch at that time, so they started directly with this in this wave, right? They are like a kind of Elementor native teams, right? They started at
Yes.
that point, so
Yes.
they built their team and the thing around that. So then we kind of like got down in the popular, and then over the next years, and then we are like kind of in the top 5 maybe, but still not at the top, right? So because I was reluctant. I mean, there were two things happening. One thing was I thought they would not reach a wide audience. This was my mistake because I didn't look deeply enough. And second thing was that I've realized that it's like they would get our market share, right? So I was hesitant to navigate this, right? Because I knew like if we build Elementor integration, so, and I'm sure that Astra or OceanWP, the conversion, like that they have from free to pro
Hmm.
with an Elementor native team, it's lower than what we had when basically the choice of the user to go to get some features would be to get Hestia Pro. They had no other choice. So if they are
True.
a Hestia free user, they want some advanced site building features, they would need to get Hestia Pro. Now you have Astra and Elementor, you can get Astra Pro to get some things, but you can get
Yes.
Elementor Pro to get a lot of other things as well. So
True.
it's a competition. I mean, it's competing on the same
Category. Yeah.
so I think
Yeah.
category. So those things combined, it's kind of, I think it was again a mistake on our side, because at the end of the day, Astra is still doing a lot more sales than us, not necessarily because of the conversion, but because of the volume, right? Because Elementor proven to be like kind of, a massive
Of course.
massive plugin. And then Astra got also massive on their own. And then, okay, even if they compete with Elementor for the same user, they are still much better off than we are, right? So I think that was the market and being at the right time, and then of course us, that we were in a much better position. We were just
On this
not
front,
yeah.
on this front, you know what I always say? Competition breeds innovation. You were forced to innovate and you innovated, didn't it? Because of competition, healthy, good competition. For
Right.
example, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, OtterBlocks, which has got 300,000, installations, amazing reviews. Was it born somewhere around this time, the Elementor Astra time, etc., when they're going up? Is that when you got, or right after Gutenberg, because
No,
it's built on Gutenberg,
right,
or it was just,
exactly. So my idea then was like, okay, so we've been late to Elementor thing, right?
yeah.
And I thought now Gutenberg is in core. They will likely outcompete Elementor because it's like the native solution. So here is our opportunity to sort of, like compete with Elementor and with Teams plus Elementor with a native solution, right? But it still was, I mean, were a couple of things. One is like Gutenberg moved too slow, and it's 7 years old, right? And it's still, like, I think now it's in a good place, but not as user friendly as Elementor in my view, right? So even
That
after
is true.
7 years.
100%, you're right. I am with you 100% on this. My team, we deliver about 100, 200 websites, sometimes even more every single month. And we are page builder agnostic. We get bricks, we get breakdance, we are getting names I can't even think of now. And the consistency with my team is exactly the same with my developers, that yes, Gutenberg needs to become more friendlier. But I think because of your plugin and some other plugins in the market, you guys are trying to solve that out. So yeah.
Yeah, but it was also the we were too early, I think, to that. We were too early. Gutenberg then made a lot of changes that kind of
It is
made
improving.
redundant.
Yes,
It is
it is
improving,
improving.
but at the same time, it was not fortunate, right? To be at the beginning when they will launch something new, they will break some old stuff. So I think it was we've been a little bit too early in my view. So we wasted time and energy on building something on top of something that was not yet mature enough, right?
True,
So
true.
right
Yeah.
now that's not the case, right? Right now that's not the case. But again, we tried to be very early. We've been too early to that part. But yeah, we tried again, like you saw, we tried to do something in
You
that regard.
you use the word opportunity right now, and I was just about to ask you a question. Like, with so many now AI builders in the market, Elementor's AI, Astra, this ZipWP AI, and so many other AI builders. Are you about to do something there, or is something already there I don't even know about, or something in the pipeline?
Uh, yeah, here it's another, like I spent time thinking about it, because when
Hmm.
ChatGPT appeared, I tried to do some prompts, and I could see like you can through prompts you can create a fairly good website, right? Okay, give me the good, let's say I have a gym website, give me the good colors for a gym website, give me the good fonts, give me the text, give me what pages I need, give me what element I need. So I kind of saw very early that it is possible So theoretically, technically, it is capable of kind of, generating a really good website, right? But then I got a little bit. I think I'm a little bit biased by being in this team space and what happened in the past years. That I thought, okay, this is not very technically complicated to do. And if we can do it, other people can do it. So Astra will do it, like Elementor will do it, those will do it. So then what will be our edge? I mean,
True.
I thought, okay, let's just not get into it, right? Which I think is not necessarily the right decision, because if you are early enough and good enough, like we see now with Cursor and Lovable and all these
Yes.
tools
Yes.
that it's not, at the end of the day, it's not something technically very complicated that they build, but there was a massive audience. They were moving very fast, and they
True.
were giving it to people, so they generate massive, like build massive companies, right? It's very intense, but it's massive. So me, I was a little bit conditioned by the team's space, where if I look at the market, like 10 years ago, we will generate more revenue with a very simple HTML, CSS, PHP team, like 5 templates file, 500 lines of CSS, and very basic, like that.
True.
I could code myself, which I'm not very good. And now again, the market is smaller. We make less revenue, but the product is technically much more complex, and is doing a lot more than 10 years ago, right?
Of course,
So
you've
when you
evolved
have
it over time. Yeah, because you improved it
yeah,
considerably over time.
yeah, but then from a business perspective, when there is too much competition, you are just catching up, and you are always investing to keep up, but not to grow your business. So
Hmm. True point. Very true.
I got a little bit tired of this dynamic, right? So I thought, okay, how I can build something that I can sustain competitive advantage, like over time, so I can actually grow the business and not just work to maintain to maintain it to the same level, right? So this was a little bit why I didn't, I decided from the very beginning that we won't do anything with the AI site building and so on. Again, I don't think it was necessarily a good decision, but this was my logic.
No, that's fine. That's fine. A lot of people are trying to stay away from it for a similar logic, by the way. Because, by the way, there's another logic which I heard the other day. Like, who knows what's going to happen in the next year? Forget the next 10 years. Who knows that? There might be another. Actually, this is actually going to happen. There's going to be another internet which is about to be born, or is already born and is just taking shape, and is in a toddler phase right now. And when this new internet comes in, which is going to be maybe run by Sam Altman and Johnny Ive or somebody like that, who knows? We just do this, and in front of our screen we have everything, like the sci-fi movies. So we are not far from that reality, by the way, that fiction which is now going to be reality. So yeah, who knows? Which brings me to a burning question, and I always ask everybody. It's so Considering all what we have just spoken about, where do you think WordPress is going in 5 years? Not two, not 10, just 5 years. Because of, like you mentioned, Lovable. You just give a few commands as live, Elementor AI, you're evolving. Five
Yeah,
years.
yeah, definitely. I think it's not. I mean, what WordPress is,
Hmm.
it's first and foremost is a CMS, right?
Yes.
CMS, it's like content management system. So it's a way
Hmm.
to you don't go in the database to create like new posts and to edit posts in the database, right? You use like a content management system to make edits to the database.
True.
Correct. And so then now we are I explore different things, right? And now, okay, you can do this by prompting or by voice, right? Okay, so if I create a website in Cursor or with Lovable or whatever, and then I just use my voice app and say, I want to change the about us page. We just hired another employee,
True.
George. Let's add it to the page, right? So basically, I'm using, let's say, Cursor or whatever as a content management system, because I want to make changes to the website. I want to add new text, I want to add new products, I want to make edits, I want to change the price, whatever. But if I compare the two options, right? Going, like in using even Elementor, right? It's easy, right? I go to the pages,
True.
I need to find the page, I need to go and then I make edits, I put a new photo, the name, I write the text. This takes much longer.
True.
So I think there is a lot of way to think of how, like we don't know what's gonna happen. So my view
It's a
on
difficult. It's a
that of
difficult.
5 years.
It's a difficult prediction. I know it is a difficult prediction, and everybody has their own opinion.
It's a difficult prediction, but I'm acting based on that, right? So for example, I've talked at the beginning, we are doing fairly active in doing small acquisitions, right? So we
True.
acquired, I think, more than 20, 30 products, and a lot of our business is built up on that. But now my view is that I'm not very open in when if I'm to buy a new WordPress product,
Mm-hmm.
because here is okay, everybody makes prediction, but actually in my case I need to make also financial predictions, right? So I need to
Yeah.
put the money where my mouth is, right? So if I'm saying
True.
WordPress will be great in 5 years, then it means the valuation that I'm using for valuing, potential acquisitions, is this or is this, right? So in practical terms, I'm not very happy to, let's say, when I'm if I'm to acquire a new product, I would want to sort of be profitable at maybe 3 to 4 years maximum.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes ago, so a couple of years ago, I would use a much broader horizon. So I would use 10 years, right? So if you
True.
ask me, like a couple of years ago, when I look at an investment, I would say the lifetime would be like 10 years in my mind, right? I don't know. Okay, you never, but my prediction sort of would be like for the next 10 years, I know this product will generate some revenue, maybe will go down, maybe the market will shrink, but I can predict on the 10-year horizon. Now I
True.
cannot predict on the 10-year horizon. So I want to make an investment aiming to sort of, like get a good return and measure it in a 10-year horizon. But I'm much more short-term oriented. Otherwise, I'm not very confident in deploying, like a lot of money, uh, even based on the 5 years. So I think WordPress will be here in 5 years. It's very, sticky due to the open source nature and the
Yes,
how it's distributed.
and considering that nearly half of this planet uses WordPress,
Right.
that too.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly. So it won't go away. But at the same time, uh, it's just the uncertainty, right? So the level. So even if before I would say 95% WordPress will be here for 10 years, now okay, like probably my percentage that WordPress will be at the same size in 10 years, it's a little bit smaller. It's still, I think, most likely, but
Yes,
the level of uncertainty is just higher due to the
I
factors
I
that
like that. Yeah.
you've discussed before, right? And we saw this because you said you wanted to touch the SEO part. We saw this with Google,
Hmm.
that like we've been in publishing since more than 10 years. I started from SEO, so I more like 15
Yeah,
years
Code and
experience.
WP. I know Code and WP is owned by you and run
Right,
by you
yeah,
professionally. So I know what you're doing with SEO. I can talk to you about SEO day and night because I
yeah,
love SEO. And you were saying, yeah, sorry, you were saying Google. And Google, yeah, went into code red alert when ChatGPT came
yeah.
in and they deployed Gemini like in a matter of months because they had no option. Because everybody is using ChatGPT. I am using ChatGPT. You are using ChatGPT. Like my mom and dad are using ChatGPT for everything. It's like, it's unbelievable.
Yeah, but the thing with this was my lesson, and how I will connect it with WordPress is that ChatGPT, I think, was launched maybe 2 3 years ago. I don't even know exactly the
Yes,
date, but
yes.
for the first year, and it was amazing from the beginning. But for the first year, nothing really happened. Like the usage grew, they made improvements, but nothing fundamentally
True.
changed in terms of SEO.
True.
People were using it for writing and so on, right? And then this like kind of like SEO thing is already going since a long time, right? But then it was just a shift, right? When I think when they started to employ like LLM based understanding on the behind the scenes, right? How the ranking algorithm works, they try to employ more, let's say, AI like things, then everything changed. So my thing with WordPress is that like things change slowly until they don't change slowly, right? So for Google, we see like it took some time and nothing changed after the you had the ChatGPT, but then 1 year, 1.5 years in, I think everything changed uh, fast in terms
Yeah.
also of adoption and
And
whatnot.
and and
So right,
Google is releasing more products in AI than ChatGPT. Yes,
right,
ChatGPT's
yes.
agent mode, etc. All of that is unbelievable. But Google's Notebook and Google's Gemini, I use Gemini like for certain things
Mhm.
which ChatGPT cannot do. Believe me, like the results are
Yeah,
completely
I
different.
use it. I use it
Yeah,
for deep research. Yeah,
yeah,
but
yeah, yeah.
recently
It's true. It's so good. People
recently
don't even know about it. Yeah, it's true.
yeah, it's not as used. I think OpenAI tried to sue Google that they can't use the results. At the end of the day, I don't know if you know, they made a deal that I don't know what are the details of it. I think
No, I
the
don't
the
know this.
requirements were yeah. So Google gave them access to the index, to the rankings,
True.
uh, but they would need to buy more Google Cloud for their processing. That was a little bit my understanding. Again, it was not, I think, reported a lot or not very detailed. But I think yeah, Google is still, like in terms of use, like you are saying, I'm also using it because it's still much better than Bing or some other alternatives that other AI system would use, right? So they have a better index of
No, no,
data.
I'm 100%. I'm 100% with you. And because you love SEO so much, and I know Code NWT is there, you got the jobs portal there. It's again like an acquisition strategy at the end of the day for Themile and your other products. That's the ultimate goal, right? With that, besides being a
This
powerhouse.
was the initial goal. So the initial goal was to, I didn't like to be reliant on the WordPress repository. And since I had this kind of SEO background, I wanted to control our acquisition channel. So I wanted like, okay, when someone would look for teams on Google, they would find our websites and not some other website that, can maybe say whatever, our teams are the worst, right? So that was the initial idea of why we were not necessarily very interested in the affiliate marketing at the beginning, right? The motivation was to control the acquisition channel for the teams to protect those channels.
Got it. Got it. I think that makes sense. We're coming up on time, so I have some rapid
Yeah,
fire questions for you. So where do you stay right now? You're in Switzerland or Romania? I was a little unclear because
yeah,
your
yeah.
LinkedIn.
I live in Switzerland. Yeah, I started a company in Romania, but then I lived abroad for the whole period. So I always run the company remotely.
Nice. And how many people are there in your team now, besides yourself?
Now we are around 16 people that are working full time and contractors
Remote.
that we use for different. Yeah.
But
Now most
that's
of
not
them are
good.
remote.
That's amazing. A lean team is always the best choice. Which part of Switzerland, if I may ask? Where are you based out of? In Switzerland?
The French speaking part. I
The
didn't
French
want to
speak.
learn a new language.
No, that's all right. That's all right. And so I missed you probably. You were at WordCamp Basel as well. I missed you probably then.
Yeah. I've been there, but I've been with my daughter, so I haven't been for a very active around, right? Because
Oh no. So funny you say that. How old is your daughter, by the way?
five.
My daughter is 17 months now. So I took her to WordCamp, by the way. That was her first WordCamp. I took her there for 1 hour because obviously I had to work and do the rounds. But it was so funny. I took her there. She went to all the booths, got everybody gave her the stickers and the swag, and she was like doing
Yeah,
this.
yeah,
It was like she's a celebrity there at the WordCamp booths. But
yeah.
yeah, it was a very good experience. Are you gonna be there in Portland WordCamp by any chance as well? Are you going to travel?
No. For now, I also had a small. I have a second smaller children, and I don't want to travel
Oh,
that much now. Yeah,
oh, it's a lot.
you will be there?
Yes, of course, I will be there. I was in Portland last year as well, and I'm going to go
Okay.
this year as well for sure. And you're absolutely right with the child and baby, everything changes. I have to fly my in-laws here to help my wife because I have a dog. I have a baby and a dog, so it's a lot. So yeah, I totally get you, totally understand. But the reason I speak about WordCamps is because a lot of our listeners and viewers, they don't know too much about WordCamps, or they've never
Mhm.
been to a WordCamp. And I always advise my viewers and listeners that listen, if you get an opportunity, especially go to the three big ones, which are in Asia, Europe, and the US ones. And there are the smaller ones which are organized in your local towns, which you can have a look.
Mhm.
And I think the Asia one next year is in Mumbai, India, which is my hometown. So like I go to actually I live in Delhi,
We
but
will
India
be.
is.
Yeah, we plan to be there with the whole team as our company retreat. We'll see how we'll sort it
Oh,
out.
that's amazing! Amazing. Have you been to India before, by any chance?
Yeah, we've been to the same because we have some people there, and it's sometimes hard for them to get out of India due to the visa and the
True,
restriction and difficulties and so on. So we went
true.
there for a work in Pune in for I think a couple of years ago. Yeah,
Oh wow, that's amazing. So yeah,
Arctic India.
Mumbai. So Mumbai is going to be amazing because of the
Yeah,
incredible hospitality in India and the incredible food, which you already know about. I don't need to talk
yeah,
about
yeah.
that. So if you besides in the entire WordPress plugin repository sector, what are your top few favorites? Top two or three? Could be speed, SEO, whatever, which come to your mind, plugins wise, which you
Uh,
really, really love, unbiased. Come on.
I think yeah, speed is something that I'm interested in. Um,
Which one do you like? You personally like? I would love to know that. You're thinking.
uh, so I think I like WP Rocket and we've been using it on some sites.
Okay. Okay. Yeah,
It's not in the repository, but yeah, it's not on
it's a
the
great product.
repository. But
It's a great product.
particularly I think they were the first to finally nail the unused CSS thing, which
True.
was like always the plugins are adding different things, and they were among the first to do that. And I
True.
think they built a great product. They started around at the same time as us,
True.
but I, but then when I think about it, the way that you phrased it, I think what I'm the most interested is in the repository is not a particular niche, but the I'm very focused on simplicity and how and what I like also about WP Rocket is like one click, right? So my vision, I don't mind the niche, right? But in whatever niche, if you can make something that's as few clicks as possible, right? It's achieving the goal. Like we it's achieving the goal with one click. So that's a little bit my
Yeah, and I think I think I
then
think
we build
I
with
think
Zurich with
that part I would agree with you because anybody who's especially not a developer installs, click one or two buttons and done and dusted. Yes, like playing a Nintendo video game, is as
yeah.
simple as that. I would say, yeah. So yeah, that's okay. And SEO wise, I know you do a lot of good job. I'm sure you keep a check on everything else, but when it comes to now LLM searches, are you doing anything special? Any unusual tactics which you're doing to keep up with everything, especially with the AI overview? As you know, like a lot of people, although the
Mhm, yeah,
searches are
yeah,
changing. So, what are your thoughts
yeah.
on that?
So
I'm so curious about that.
yeah, I think I thought about it. I was looking into a couple of things, but the conclusion at the end of the day for me is like nothing would be different. So the because when I think about SEO, right, actually what I'm thinking about, even before and now it's the same thing, is like you need to sort of, when you think about the world around you, let's say you have your agency, and you have your audience, let's say I don't know, SaaS owners, right? And
So,
then what I want in terms of SEO, I want as many people around to say like Seahawk Media is the best agency for SaaS owners.
yep, yep,
So then, okay, how I can do that? Maybe I can pay some people to do some paid reviews. I can sort of encourage people to do it on their own by using different things. So I think nothing is different, right? So in my view, if you had like kind of, let's say, first principled approach of SEO before, I think it's the same. The big difference now is just that LLM SEO is like much harder to trick because they are much smarter. So to give you a small example that it's a little bit mind-blowing, they will connect the dots much better. So they would see that, yeah, okay, like Themile, you are writing about Neve, you say it's the best theme, but you actually own the theme, which is, like I won't take that for a fact, right?
True. You're right. You're right. It does do research really well, and it's only getting better every day, every minute.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So it's just harder to trick because they will say, yeah, okay, maybe 100 websites are saying about Neve that is the best. Okay, we get that, but then the active installs are 10, right?
True.
So they are much smarter in kind of analyzing that amount of crawling data. So, but Google would not make a choice, So if you had 100 websites, big websites saying Seahawk Media or like Neve is the best theme, they would not check WordPress.org that you have only 100 installs there, right? That they won't have this nuance. But right now with LLM-based SEO, they will say, okay, like when was the latest updated date? What is the active installs? What people on Reddit are saying? You have reviews, but who are those your own sites or like connected sites? So even for like WP Beginner, they understand like Automotive on WP Beginner that owns interest in those companies and so on. So before Google would not understand any of that. So I think that's the biggest change. But again, if your approach was first principle before, and you were trying to build a genuine brand, like a team that has active installs, that had good reviews, that like you worked on your marketing and SEO, but all on top of a good base, right? Not like trying to fake it. I think it's the same, and I don't think you need to do anything different in my view.
Got it. So that's it. I think we've just come up on time. And final thing, besides all your time on ChatGPT, on WordPress, etc., what is your favorite Netflix or podcast which you're watching? Anything which you really like?
In terms of podcasts, so I don't think it will be very useful. I'm now listening to French-speaking podcast because I want to learn more, and it's a way to improve my language skills, right? Because I don't use French on a daily basis. So I'm listening to, and they are amazing, like I think there is France Culture, it's Les Pieds sur Terre, it's called, and I'm learning some cultural podcast about people's stories and different things that I'm listening as a way to sort of learn about different things, but improve my language skills.
You're in Switzerland, so you have no option but to learn French and German. You have no option.
Yeah.
I know for a fact, because actually Italian also, a lot of people speak Italian also. The people from all over the world. In the UK and Switzerland, that much I love. Like it's a very multicultural, they're multicultural countries, people from all over the world. But we can go on and on about it. Anyways, thank you so much for being on my show. It was great chatting with you, and I hope to see you at one of the WordCamps, whether it's the Poland one or the other one, and the Mumbai one.
Or in Mumbai,
yeah. Poland, I think, but the Poland Europe one is coming sooner, so maybe I'll see you there if you're traveling there.
No, in Mumbai won't be in February or March, I think.
No, it's later. The Europe one is earlier. I think the Europe one is earlier this year. Yeah, which is the Krakow one. But WordCamp Mumbai, I think so. The dates has not been announced, so it's later actually.
Yeah,
I think. Yeah. But anyways, thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Have a great rest of the day. Yeah, thank you so much for being on WP Legends. Bye for now. Thank you.